I want to do a podcast about films.
All we do is podcasts about films.
Excellent. And we're good to go.
Go?
Go into the wild.
Oh, Christ. It's worse than Tag Lies, the game that screams last minute.
Yeah, you wanted a game, you got a game. So anyway, Into the Wild.
Into the Wild.
How did you find it?
Our heated agreement.
Yes, a heated agreement.
Hey, talking of heated, don't forget the hot piss chat.
Ah, yes, it's what the algorithm demands.
Gotta give the people what they want.
Hello and welcome to Movie the Needle, a podcast where a pair of amateurs haphazardly dissect a film that one of us likes and one, well, not so much. My name's Simon, and I'm in a shed with my good friend Carl. We'll be explaining our opposing viewpoints and seeing whether we can movie the needle for one another. This week, we trek off the beaten track for the Sean Penn directed coming-of-age docu-drama about a college graduate who gives up his life savings to hitchhike around America with the aim to live in the Alaskan wilderness. Hippies and bird's-eye cock ensues. It's Into the Wild.
Hey, we were just talking about podcasts and trends.
Yes.
Trend I've noticed in my pod rotation
Yes.
is that there's been a fair bit of piss chat recently on the old airwaves.
Really? Just
Yeah.
coincidentally.
It's strange, isn't it? It doesn't matter whether it's like a movie podcast, a sports podcast.
Just talking about urination.
Piss chat is the order of the day, yeah. Been showered in it mostly, but yeah, it's weird.
Ooh, I suppose
So
it's what you have to do to become a number one podcast,
Oh,
eh?
I wondered about that. And I thought we'd managed to avoid it.
Number
but then
one
I remembered
podcast?
the other week.
Nothing there? Number one?
Number one. Oh, number one.
Jeez, come on.
Right, fucking hell. Yeah, that's very good. I did think we had steered clear of it, but then I remembered the other day that I said me and the missus were thinking about getting into water sports. Although, of course, that's more on the water than from the hot tap.
Sure.
So, yeah. Something to keep an eye on. Anyway,
Yep, there we go.
as you say, maybe that's what we need to propel us up the charts.
That's it.
Some hot piss chat.
So we'll just end with a golden shower, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
No?
Not looking forward to filming these.
Yes, yeah, the video podcast become somewhat niche. Okay, even more niche.
Yeah.
So, Carl, I do have a game.
Ah, good.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not Tag Lies again, is
I've been
it?
very busy.
It's Tag Lies, isn't it? Fucking Tag Lies. So I asked ChatGPT
Yeah.
to...
Love you.
No. I asked ChatGPT to suggest me some films. I was looking for films on a particular theme, right?
Yeah.
And let me see if I can find the actual text that it gave me. But...
Was this for like top 3 purposes or something? Was
No,
this
this
give you
was...
some inspiration?
Yeah, I was filling out my watch list.
Do you need help doing that? Because mine just keeps
Well, I
on
want to
growing.
find stuff I've not heard of there, right?
Uh-huh.
So I sort of picked a theme and then just went down that rabbit hole, and then it sort of goes, oh, if you like this, do you want more of this flavour or this flavour? And I sort of went through a few iterations. Anyway, yeah, here we go. I've got my chart up. This happened more than once that I'm about to share with you.
Okay. Feels like you could
And
have
it lies.
Feels like you could have maybe got this ready for.
Well, it's just because you've just mentioned fucking Tag Lies, isn't it? That's why. Right, here we go. It suggested to me a film called The Last Tourist, 1990.
Okay.
Right. For which it said... for God's sake. The Last Tourist, 1990. A wealthy traveller loses himself in Greece, indulging in local pleasures while slowly detaching from reality.
Right. Okay.
So I looked up The Last Tourist, 1990. It doesn't exist.
So they've just made up a film. It's hallucinating. Hallucinating. That was a weird way to say it. It's hallucinating.
Hallucinating. And then I said, The Last Tourist 1990 doesn't seem to exist. And he goes, you're absolutely right. I made an error there. The Last Tourist from 1990 doesn't exist. Apologies for the confusion.
Yeah.
I'm like, confusion? What do you mean?
It's a common
Confusion?
AI thing, hallucinations. Yep. But now what you need to do is go make that film.
So I said, so what was the synopsis from? If it's not a real film,
Yeah,
what
made
was
it
the
up.
synopsis from? I see where the confusion came from. Oh, good. It's going to tell us. The synopsis I provided doesn't correspond to an existing film, and I apologise for that. It seems I mistakenly created a fictional description that doesn't belong to any particular movie. Thank you for pointing that out. What?
My bad. You caught me.
Like completely just Yeah, it's a fair cop. I made it up, mate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fucking ChatGPT, honestly. AI.
There we go.
Okay, taglines, right? We are where we are.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. What can you do? I've been a busy boy. What's been going on in your life, Carl?
We have had a listener get in touch.
We have?
After the Kick-Ass episode.
We have?
Yeah.
Email?
Text, so not for official channels.
Unofficial, okay.
We'll let it slide.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Husband to lovely wife.
Yep, Kate.
Yep.
2 points he raised. 1, you've cheated me out of a point on the game.
Wait, what game?
Kick-Ass or Ass Kick or whatever it was. Superheroes, are they real? Were they superheroes?
Oh,
you
right,
made
okay.
up? Yeah.
Have I?
Yeah. Supergran.
No, it doesn't exist.
Supergran's real. He was like, I had that on VHS.
No.
Yeah.
A comic book hero.
He sent me the link and everything.
Oh,
so
I'm like ChatGPT, but the opposite. I think I've made it up. It's actually real.
I'll have another point for that. Thank you very much.
All right, well, I'll put it on the scoreboard.
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Okay, it's on there now.
Very good. And then he also went on to talk about some of the things we talked about and gave his opinion on perhaps why Kick-Ass was always going to age badly.
Oh, go on.
Because, I mean, wasn't so hot on it to begin with, but you definitely enjoyed it less the second time round.
I thought I had just aged badly.
Well, yeah, don't we all? He made the point that films that rely on shock value,
True,
as Kick-Ass does, wear out. He also mentioned The Substance. I mean, he quite enjoyed that, but did say that is not going to be a rewatchable film.
Fair point. Yeah.
And I was just going to ask you if you subscribe to that same school of thought.
It's a good school of thought. I mean, literally the first time I've heard it, so it's difficult for me to process it in such a short amount of time. But it's a very good point. I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, would the time that you had to prepare make any difference? Would you make any more of a better point than yeah?
They put me on the spot with these sorts of questions.
Yeah,
Jesus.
What do you think of film, Simon?
Don't
ask me that.
You heard the shit I come up with now. That takes me hours to prepare for.
Yeah, I mean, I do sort of agree. Although I tend to think the setup is more important, because if you do a good job with the setup, you'll sort of keep coming back and keep enjoying it because you'll be engaged in it. It's like, how do you ever laugh at a joke once you've heard the punchline? But if it's well set up, you do. How do you enjoy The Usual Suspects once you know the twist? Because it's a really good movie and it pulls you in. Although I do tend to agree that I think shock, as that in particular, does lend itself to aging quicker, perhaps, than the others.
There we go. We shall test that theory on future films.
Yeah, so there we go.
I had an experience at the weekend, Carl. Not one I'm proud of. First time.
Could go anyway, couldn't it?
First time I've been sick.
Oh yeah.
For 10 years, as in vomiting.
Were you very tired?
No, not really. I had like five beers.
So you were out on the sleepy juice.
Finished with a Baileys when I got home, but it was like, that was like.
Do you want that bottle of Baileys?
Half the 9. What, the 20-year-old one?
It's 14 years old.
It's like a vintage. How have you still got that? Why have you not thrown it away? Dear listeners, would you drink a 14-year-old bottle of Baileys?
If I liked Baileys, I'd give it a go.
Would you?
Yeah.
You should just give it a go anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not the best candidate because there's no control there. Like I'll be sick anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no control. So.
But yeah, it was very odd. Just woke up at like 3:30 in the morning and went, I don't feel very well. Snoozed a bit and we go, I really don't feel very well. So
after you'd gone to bed for a bit?
Yeah.
That was the sleep that did it.
Yeah. Yes. Indeed. But it's very, very odd. So I blamed like being
everything else,
congested and phlegm and all of that. That's what did it.
Yeah.
Not the booze. But yeah. Streak's over.
So what you're saying is you went out without me?
Yeah, I should have invited you to the football race night. You might have enjoyed it. It would have been fun. Yeah,
I could have politely declined.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What else has been going on, Carl? Anything?
We have been contacted through official channels.
No. Email?
Yes.
Oh, well,
it's an aggregated response in that it's come from Good Pods, an automated response.
Good Pods. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're on.
But it's to let us know that we've got another follower. So welcome, Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
Sounds made up. I'll take it.
I haven't made him up. So if somebody else is going to the trouble of making him up, that counts.
Well, welcome, Bob.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family. I would say
I don't know what
extended
Good Pods
family.
does. What, is something you set up?
It's just another hosting place that you goes out there. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The MTN pod community grows.
Indeed. Spread the word. You been watching any movies?
Yes. 5.
5?
Well, 6, actually. 6 movies.
Okay.
7 if you include this one.
What? No, we don't.
6 movies. Not including this one.
I've just got the 3, so you go ahead and I'll chip in as you
All
go.
right, let
So I
me-
think
let
there's
me-
some duplicate.
Let me knock 2 out straight away.
Okay.
Murder Mystery 1 and 2.
You watched them back to back?
Oh, yeah. Not quite back to back.
Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the missus came in halfway through the first one and went, "Oh, you're watching Murder Mystery?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, have you seen it?" Because I was going to suggest that we should watch the second one together. She's like, "I've seen it, but I'll watch it with you anyway."
Yeah.
So we did. We watched the second one afterwards.
Fine, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the second one, actually. I think I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, watch it. Fun. You know, they are what they are.
Yeah.
They're not pretending otherwise.
No.
Not a whodunit, shite. But, you know,
Does it not even pretend to be a whodunit?
yeah, but it does, but you can't.
You can't
You
figure
can't
out.
work it out. No,
Right, okay.
It's not, it doesn't give you enough to go on. It's
Gotcha.
It's just silly.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, but that was fun.
I think you also watched this, Nickel Boys.
No, I haven't got around to it yet.
Have you not? Really? Why don't I feel like you... Okay, no mind.
Because I sort of got it for you and then never actually watched it myself.
All right. Well, I watched it. So it's... yeah, I won't give away too much, but I was somewhat... I said to you beforehand, I was like, oh, I've got high hopes for this after I was kind of saying that generally the Oscar Best Picture nominees have been a bit underwhelming this year. But I was somewhat disappointed.
Oh,
still.
no. Oh, well, maybe I like it. We'll see.
So we've got Honora. That's the only one I've got left to watch that I've got high hopes for.
Oh, I read a great review of that today. I'll not share that until after you watch it.
Okay, good stuff. So yeah, I won't talk too much about Nickel Boys, but there's a production choice that was made that took me out of it. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, so a couple more from my watch, Rifkin's Festival,
What?
which is a Woody Allen film, 2022, maybe?
Oh, really?
2020?
Okay. Never heard of it.
So you've seen Lost in Paris, Midnight in Paris.
Yes.
You've seen Midnight in Paris.
And Lost in Translation. But
Yeah. So it turns out, from about 2006, that Lost in Paris vibe style of film is all Woody Allen's been making.
Midnight in Paris, but yeah.
Yeah, Midnight in Paris. Yeah, every day. That's all he's been making.
Okay.
So there's the other one that I've seen, which is Vicky Cristina Barcelona,
Yes.
which is a not as good version of the same sort of thing, without the specific plot device
Quite as
that
whimsical,
applies
is it?
in Midnight in Paris, but like the actual vibe, the feel-good factor, the relationship side of it, that's all still there. Rifkin's Festival is another one, and whilst I'm sort of here for the, yeah, that's kind of a nice feel, it's not a good film.
Okay.
And
Fair
then,
play to him to still be making movies or whatever age he is.
yeah, and he's churning them out. Like, so when I say from about 2006, that's all he's been making. He's made a lot of them. And then another film I watched was The Lost Weekend.
Nope.
1954, I think.
Oh, right. Yep. Not heard of it. Good? Recommend it?
Yeah. That was good. Yeah. 1945.
Oh, you got, dyslexic. You're fine.
Yes. So it's sort of like a bleak comedy, I would say.
Okay.
Dramedy, do you call those?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't know. About an alcoholic writer. Sadly, not research. It's been on my watch list for a while, and it became available. I thought, well, I better watch it then. And so did another film in the very similar vein, Factotum.
Factotum.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just making these up now.
No, well, apparently factotum has a meaning. It's somebody who does a lot of different jobs.
Oh, well, there you go.
An employee does all kinds of work. So he was employed as the general factotum.
Okay. Opinions on these films?
Well, I've already said that Lost Weekend was quite good. I would recommend it.
Did you?
Yes. You recommend it? I went, yes.
All right.
But it's good to know you listen.
Well, can't see your mouth. It's difficult.
Yeah. I can't fucking understand him unless I can semi-lip read him. Yeah, Factotum is a bit more boring, to be honest with you. Again, similar sort of vein, like I said, they've been on watch list for ages. Alcoholic writer.
You got to do the alcoholic thing.
Yeah. So Charles Bukowski, you ever heard of him?
No.
He was. Do you want to guess what he was?
An alcoholic?
He was an alcoholic writer, yeah. So it's like a semi-autobiographical movie. It was all right. It's fine. What was your other one?
So I've watched a couple. So started watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe films with Theo. So you'll love these. So Iron Man, started off with that, watching them in order. Great fun. I know it's not your thing, but it wouldn't be a bad introduction for someone whose thing it isn't. 4 stars.
Yeah, I've got loads of time for that.
Yep. And then followed that up with the next one in the series, The Incredible Hulk. Less fun.
Which one's that one?
The big green man.
No, who's the Hulk?
Oh,
it's Eric.
Edward Norton.
Not Eric. What's his name?
Eric Banner.
No, what's the actual Hulk's?
Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner. Yeah.
What's played by Eric
which
Banner
one is it? Eric Norton. That one is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Edward Banner.
Yeah, Graham Norton. He's in. He tries his best, but he's very, very serious and a little boring. It's like, come on, guys, make it a little bit more fun. Plus, Tim Roth is a super soldier in it, which is pretty funny because he's the least believable as anything that could be active. It's definitely not the place to start if this isn't your kind of thing. But on the plus side, Marvel do figure out how to handle the Hulk in future films.
I was going to say they've undergone quite a change, haven't they?
Yes. Well, they moved to Mark Ruffalo after Edward Norton, and he's a lot more fun and gives it a little bit more personality. Edward Norton we like, we've talked about him in A Complete Unknown. He was good. He's been in some good films, don't get me wrong, but...
Of course, none of them are Lou Ferrigno, are they? So
he's in it. He's in this one. He had a little cameo, obviously.
Yeah, but he's not the Hulk, is he?
No, he's not the Hulk in it. That'd be very confusing.
He didn't need any CGI. Ooh,
no.
What a unit.
Yeah, Emma's still scarred by that. It was like the green eyes or whatever that they put in him. Scarred her for life as a child.
I never watched it.
No,
just know the name. Yes. So
1.5 stars for The Incredible Hulk. So not great.
Ooh. Is that what the boy gave it?
No. I didn't ask him what he gave it. Probably 5.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything else?
Just one more.
Cornetto.
Hook.
Yep. Wait. We've done this already.
Yep.
You rewatched Hook.
Yep.
Why?
So
with the child.
The kids have seen it before, but when I did the rewatch for the podcast, I couldn't watch it with the kids. But they both caught me watching it at different points and insisted that even though it was way past their bedtime, they should watch it. So I was like, no, we'll watch it the weekend. We did. They bloody loved it. And even though I'd seen it like 2 days before, I bloody loved it.
Any corrections from your...
No, and do you know what, right? I was watching it again, and I was thinking, even though I know that there are some things we flagged up, like it's too long, you could cut this out, you could do this bit's maybe I didn't like... That's all still there, but actually just sitting down to watch a film, do those things matter? No, they bloody don't. It's a really good film.
Yeah, we got to say something.
No, it's not that. It's like they are there,
yeah.
But you have to, like, I feel like there's a disconnect sometimes between not picking a film apart, because I don't think we go to purposely do that. The way I sort of think of when we are critiquing these films, when I'm writing my notes, I'm trying to understand why I feel a certain way about a film.
Yeah.
And you're picking up on certain things to go, oh, that makes sense because I felt like this and that feeds into this. But sometimes I think you can just go, yeah, but if you just forget all of that, because that's all still there, but it's still it doesn't matter when you watch it. It still just really works, and Hook's one of those films. So yeah, it's too long. Didn't feel it.
And if you want to hear more about Hook, then you can check out our special episode, Underrated.
What a pro. Yeah.
Carl, I'm thirsty.
Right.
Please, can you unveil the ale?
I think we've had this beer before.
Okay. Is it good?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it brew gooder?
Yes.
Okay.
But, they make a few.
They do.
This one is the Made to Rome IPA.
Why would we have had that before?
That's what I was trying to remember. I was like, Made to Rome. What have we done?
Didn't do anything based in Rome.
Yeah,
we
what
nothing
film
like
have we
that.
done? Bit of wandering, bit of a lost soul.
If only there was a way to find out.
Yeah.
We could listen back to all of the episodes. Someone else can do that. Hey, good listeners, why don't you listen back to all those episodes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not the bad ones.
Yeah, I don't mind. All right, let's crack that open and then we'll move on to introduce the film. All right, enough jibber jabber. Let's get to the film. But of course, first, a quick reminder of our ratings. A simple 5-point scale. You either really like it, you're ambivalent, you don't like it, or you really don't like it. To me, Carl, I like this film. Where are you on the scale?
I don't like it.
You don't like it. Well, the reason why I like this movie is, although it has its flaws, I found it engaging, beautiful to look at. Whilst I don't think it is as super deep and meaningful that quite a lot of people seem to think it is, it does stimulate some interesting thoughts both during and after watching, as well as some discussion points, which I'm sure we will get to. Carl, what don't you like?
The downgrades in heroes and celebrations. Crunchy to crunchy bits.
Oh, I quite like them.
No, but it's no crunchy. Crunchy bits are no crunchy. That's a clear downgrade. And Galaxy Truffle to Twix is a walk.
I mean, Twix, yeah, that's just a joke.
I like a Twix.
Nah, mini
Galaxy
Twix is a
Truffle?
shite. Oh, I forgot all about the Galaxy
Yeah, of course you
Truffles.
did, because they've been replaced by fecking Twixes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is a big downgrade. Twixes are shite, by the way.
Oh, I don't mind them.
No,
I mean, I say this like I
disappointing
ever eat a
biscuit.
Twix.
I've had a little mini Twisk in my little treat box on top of the fridge. And I was looking and just disgust. I could just throw it away, but I will eat it.
Like I say, I don't mind the Twix, but it will have been years since I've had a Twix. So what good's that information?
We are still open to sponsorship, though, Twix. So if you do want to sponsor us, we'll eat a shed load of them. We'll put them in every orifice. We don't care.
Yes.
We'll sell it wherever you
We
like.
like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer eats the donuts. More.
Anyway, Carl, I meant about the film. Anyway, what don't you like about the film?
Well, so I've cheated for this week's opening statement.
You copied and pasted
I've
from a
finally
previous
done
one?
it. I've copied and pasted somebody else's review because I quite enjoy their review, and it also neatly sums up how I also.
Are you going to
feel
reference
about
them? Are you going to call out who they are?
Yeah, so it's I think it's a lass called Bruna on Letterboxd.
Hi, Bruna.
Yeah, hi Bruna. She definitely listens. And she says, privileged white boy acts like an ungrateful brat and runs away from home to live out the rest of his life surviving only on his pretentious ass. Because of that, he thinks he's better than everyone else for being a free spirit. Air quotes around free spirit. Wow. Look at him, he refuses to have a car. What an amazing social criticism. But what this imbecile doesn't understand is that is the most bourgeois thing he could ever do. Romanticise the life of someone who actually had to do things because they weren't as spoiled as you. How is poverty freedom? Only to a rich poor teen boy who wanted to have an adventure. Anyways, in the end, he dies.
Yeah, I liked that review as well, literally on Letterboxd.
Did you?
Because, yeah, it's dead right, it's dead on.
Yeah, isn't it? So there we go.
Cool. Okay, let's kick things off with the cast, and we'll start at the top with Emil Hirsch playing Alexander Supertramp, or Chris McCandless? Is it McCandless, not McCandles?
Well, I was going to say, in the graduation scene, they announce him as McCandles. And I was going to say, McCandles, are you having that? Because it looks like it should be McCandless.
Yeah, I mean, be one S if it was McCandles.
Yeah, so I'm going to call him McCandless.
Yeah, McCandless.
I certainly won't be calling him fucking Alexander Supertramp. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably just call him Emil Hirsch.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What do you think of him?
I'm not sure.
Interesting. I think I quite enjoyed his performance. It's difficult, right? Because it's separating his character from performance, and I always struggle with that a little bit. In that, I think you can obviously do a very good performance of a quite irritating, unpleasant character. J.K. Simmons, yeah, exactly. And I don't think that necessarily gets in the way of the film, the fact that he's playing a pretty problematic protagonist. I keep using the word problematic. I need to use a thesaurus. Thesaurus? A
Thesaurus. Oh, I like that. Thesaurus.
Or a thesaurus.
What an idiot. Oh.
And anyway.
Or what an idiot, as you'd say.
He plays a pretty unlikable character. But I think he, as an actor, he delivers the emotion. Like when he sees a moose. Makes me emotional, just thinking about it. And I think he does authentically portray that character in all of its flaws out there. Plus, gets his cock out, so 5 stars to lose.
This is your bird's eye cock, isn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'll also acknowledge it's a tough gig because he's on his own for a lot of it. So it's not like he has other characters to be bouncing off.
Yeah, I think he acts dying very well.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. I probably agree with that,
husk.
actually. In fact, I would say he is probably better when he's on his own. I think he impressed more on me in those scenes than he did when he is interacting with people.
It's definitely a lot of heavy lifting to do there, obviously.
Yeah.
With it to make it compelling, make it compelling viewing. And I think all the other interactions where with people, it's fairly, natural and light as well in terms of it's just people interacting and stuff. There's no great drama that he is doing with other people. There's no highs and lows necessarily. It's all just pretty run the mill, and he's interacting with other people. That's kind of juxtaposed with the alone stuff with when he's with people.
He's okay. I think I'm willing to be talked into the fact he's done a decent job here, but I do think it's because of the on his own stuff is the stronger of the two parts. Let's say.
What happened to him, Emil Hirsch?
The only other thing I think I've seen him in that I can remember is a film called 7 Days in Havana.
Yeah, I looked at his filmography, and basically after 2008, it's not that he's disappeared completely. He's just done terrible films after terrible films, and yeah, I don't really understand why. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I don't remember him in it.
No, I don't remember him in that either.
Jay Sebring, so I'm not sure if that rings any bell with the character name, but I can't remember him being in it. But
I've said that now as well. I've just realised I might even be getting it mixed up with Daniel Bruhl in 7 Days in Havana.
Daniel Bruhl. I like Daniel Bruhl. He's not Emil Hirsch. But yeah, interesting, because he kind of had a little run. He was in like Speed Racer and this and Girl Next Door.
It mixed up with Daniel Bruhl. Yeah. Sorry, go on. I'm cutting you off.
He's in A Girl Next Door and Speed Racer and this. He seems to be getting on a nice little run, and then, yeah, just kind of disappeared.
Do you know, I've not seen any of those, but I've definitely seen him in something else. Maybe he's just got one of those faces, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, where do you want to go next?
I've got Kristen Stewart down.
Okay.
Next.
She's right at the bottom. Kristen Stewart, yes, playing Tracy.
Yeah, very young in this. I don't know how young she was, actually. And she's playing a 17-year-old, but she does look very young.
Yeah, 16-year-old, I think, right? Horny 16-year-old. She doesn't actually have a great deal to do, right? It's quite.
She says she's 18 and then she gets talked down to 17.
Then she goes down to 16.
She goes down to 16. Yeah, fair enough.
Quite a good introduction to the character with the old singing on stage and bit and quite.
I've seen people slagging her off.
I think people generally don't like her. That's the thing, though.
Yeah,
they think she's pretty much one note. I read someone saying like, "Oh, I don't think I saw her bite a lip this time."
Yes, that's right.
Apparently a thing.
Too. Yeah, I read that too. And I've got to say, I don't kind of know what to make of her either. I did think it was quite awkward, but then I think it's supposed to be quite awkward. So maybe I would give her some props for that.
I think she's a very good fit for the role that she's been asked to do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, because recasting her wasn't the easiest job in the world. So again, I suppose I could be talked into the fact that she did all right in it.
Yeah, I mean, she enters the story at a time when there isn't necessarily that drama, right? It's a bit, as I say, it's just a bit where people are kind of spending time together on that slab city, so they're just kind of building a little relationship and stuff. There's not a lot going on for her to do. I've got Jenna Malone next. That's his sister.
Didn't do the
Corinne.
sister.
Good to know. I know her best from Donnie Darko.
If it helps, I also didn't do Hal Holbrook.
Well, good to know too.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I did do Hal Holbrook.
Yeah, you did.
Couldn't resist.
No, but we'll talk about this more in production. But she does the narration, which is her main.
And you love a narration.
Her main job in this. Yeah, I still don't know the difference between narration and voiceover, and if they are on the same thing or if they are different. And I've not found out.
No.
So
that'll be
living in
research,
ignorance. Who knows? Is it 2 words for the same thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say she didn't have a right lot to do in physical presence, but the narration was quite a major part of her gig there. But yeah, I thought she did a decent job of talking. Vince Vaughn.
Yes, right. Wayne Westerberg.
Wayne. Yeah.
I mean, to a degree, he's been Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah. He's kind of a loud, brash Vince Vaughn performance, but just played a tiny bit straighter.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going for the comedic chops so much.
No less loud, but just...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, like, honestly, do you know, the more and more stuff I watch with Vince Vaughn in it, I think Vince Vaughn's bloody good.
Oh, I think he is. I think he's underappreciated.
Yeah, he's just got a presence. And again, I found him really difficult to recast to the point where I think I actually gave up. Yeah, I did. Because there's not many people like him. And he can really hold a scene. He can really deliver a line. I think he's very good. He's a good fit for that character. Yeah.
He gets like second billing in this as well, which is odd because he's not really part of it for very long. You know, it's only a few scenes.
I guess at that time he's probably still the biggest name attached to it, right? And
true.
You've got to give Emile Hirsch first billing.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. He's also playing an early IPTV seller, apparently. Is
that what it was? It was
like
some form of piracy,
satellite.
wasn't it? Yeah.
It's funny though. Like, you read reviews as part of this on Letterboxd, and there's people just going like, and they don't even explain why he got arrested. It's like they kind of do. Like,
there's a hint.
Like you don't need to spell it out. People, come on, concentrate. Do you want to go next? Who do you want to go?
I've only got one more, which is Hal Holbrook.
Oh, okay. We'll do Hal Holbrook. I've got one more after that.
Okay, so Hal Holbrook
Mr.
is playing
Franz.
Ron Franz, yeah.
I thought he was pretty magnetic.
Yes, I really enjoyed his turn in this. I think he's totally believable as being lonely and lost, but he's also, he had a bit about him, and he's actually got wisdom and, had a life before and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think he delivers a lot of depth in not a lot of screen time.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Absolutely. I think a very touching performance, very strong performance from him, I thought.
Yeah. Enjoyed. More Franz, please. The only other one I called out was Catherine Keener as Jan.
Okay, yeah.
One of the hippie
wife.
couple. Mm-hmm. I think she makes a great hippie.
She does make a good hippie.
I think I actually do quite like Catherine Keener. And always find her incredibly watchable and convincing, whatever I see her in. Not really sure what it is about her, but she makes me feel, Carl. Whatever it is she's trying to make me feel, she makes me feel it.
Can't put a price on that.
She's also strangely alluring, and I don't know why.
Yep, I agree with that as well.
So yeah, she was one of the highlights of the supporting cast that he visits and spends time with along the way. I think that was the last one I called out. Yep. So recasting.
Right.
You want to start at the top?
Yeah, McCandless.
Yep.
I've got 3. I'm not sure which one of these is the best.
Okay, I'll be the judge.
Yeah, fair enough. So I'll just give you the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Teller, Zac Efron, Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, I got Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, if you wanted to lean into the arsehole angle, go Shia LaBeouf.
Well, I mean, they're all assholes, or in different ways.
Could be, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah,
true.
but
what was the first one?
Miles Teller.
What was the second one?
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron. That's a more interesting one. He's not a typical arsehole kind of. Doesn't play
certainly
arsehole.
Early doors.
Yeah,
he was very, very brash, and I could see him being the little fucking know-it-all punk kid sort of thing. But we've got to say Shia LaBeouf's quite obviously a bigger arsehole.
Yeah,
that runs deep. That arsehole.
Yes, yes, indeed. I think maybe Zac Efron out of those might be the one that I'd maybe lean down, just because I think you need that fresh-faced, kind of charismatic, enthusiastic, but can also come across as a bit of an overprivileged prick. And I think he could probably do that better. The other one that I had suggested for that is Andrew Garfield.
Okay, yeah. In
a similar thing that I think he could do that.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. Yeah, I think I could buy him in all the facets needed. Yeah, fair enough.
Please don't. Vince Vaughn, did you?
I couldn't do it in the end.
So I came up with a couple, none of which I was too happy with. I think I came up with, if you go in a different direction with John Bernthal, but he couldn't really pull off quite what Vince Vaughn is doing here.
It's not bad, though. Yeah, don't mind it.
Yeah.
You need someone who's going to pull off a blue-collar, working-class guy, and you can also have a laugh in the pub with. Yeah, John Bernthal's not bad.
Yeah, you need a man who can pull off a farmer, eh?
Hey!
The only other person I thought was Bradley Cooper for that one.
No, I like that less.
Okay.
Yeah,
Should have quit while I was ahead.
Yeah.
Hal Holbrook, have you managed to?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with this one.
Yeah.
John Mahoney, or Mahoney, depending on
he could definitely do it. Yeah.
Which for the uninitiated is Fraser's dad.
Yes.
Fraser Crane's dad.
Yes. Yes, it's not very much older than Fraser Crane in that, but played older. I had Jack Lemmon.
Oh, yeah.
Thought he could do it.
Yeah.
And then the only other one I've done is Jenna Malone.
Uh-huh.
Emily Blunt.
Fair play? Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's move on to production. And directed by Sean Penn. Mm-hmm. We know him. Sean Penn. No, Sean Penn, sorry.
Sean Penn.
Not Sean Penn. That would work.
We've done that already. The Birdside jobby.
You've seen his peen. Yeah, there we go. I haven't seen anything else he's really directed, I don't think. He's directed The Pledge and The Indian Runner.
Yeah.
And some other stuff, which I've not seen, I don't think.
Yeah, not seen any of those.
So can't really comment. I've obviously seen films he's been in.
Yeah.
He's sometimes quite odd, sometimes quite good. But he's not in this, so let's not talk about that. This, obviously, by far the most well-known and, I think, well-received of those films, judging by the various ratings that I've had a look at. Can't judge them, but seems like he's done a fairly decent job at this. He obviously knows what he's doing because he's been around the block a fair few times and worked with some pretty impressive directors, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But any comments on Sean Penn?
Well, my headline for the production of this movie is I do like the production of this movie.
Okay, good.
Soundtrack.
Well, you want to jumping straight down to soundtrack? Okay, right.
I sort of.
You know who did this?
No, I don't.
Eddie Vedder.
Oh, right, okay.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically he'd done a couple of songs for movies that Sean Penn had been in.
Right.
So Sean Penn had contacted him and said, "Do you fancy doing this?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Don't you want to know what the film's about?" "Nah, it's fine. Crack on." So he just...
Well, he's done a good job.
Yeah, I thought so.
I quite like it. There's a couple of the songs or melodies or whatever that have really stuck around, and they've made their way onto like TikTok sounds, which is always a sign that you've got a little hook in there or whatever. So I think the soundtrack's quite good. I also quite like the way the whole sound is sort of quite laid back. There's quite a laid back vibe throughout.
Kind of fits, doesn't it? Kind of fits like the natural landscapes and that kind of thing. It kind of blends quite nicely in, I thought.
Yeah. So that's all good.
It didn't necessarily blow me away, but it's the kind of like I would put on that soundtrack if I just wanted a little just like chill out background.
It's like ambient noise.
Yeah, kind of ambient noise.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what we've talked about before is like nothing stood out as like jarring or anything weird.
Yeah.
It just seemed to fit. And coming off A Complete Unknown, into that folky shit now.
You're gonna go Pete Seeger on me.
Yeah, that's it. Budget for this, 15 million.
Yeah, so it's pretty frugal.
Yeah. Considering, locations they would have had to go to as well for that. Because it's literally, name a type of location, it's got the
all
snow,
there, isn't it?
got the snow, got the desert, got the rivers, got the sea, got the beaches, all of that. So, travel budget must have been 10 million. That.
Yeah. I've seen some people criticise the cinematography on this.
So, Carl, can I differentiate between pretty things and cinematography?
This is the thing. I'm the same. To me, it was a fabulous looking film.
Yes, exactly.
And when people are going, just having a good location doesn't mean the cinematography is good.
All right.
It probably doesn't. But
works for me.
Yeah. Until I learn what that is, I am afraid an ignoramus that really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. I just think the way it's shot as well, because of all the travel scenes, because basically, you move from all those different landscapes of the snow, the desert, long American roads, the sunsets, the sunrises, the beach, the sea, roaring rivers, and all of it kind of fills you with that longing to explore a little bit. It's just like, just to see all those different things. That does sound appealing. And America, I think, particularly, because you get all
very
those,
varied.
Yeah, it's very varied, and you get all of that in one place. Not in one place, obviously, but in one one country. And I think that's kind of the point of how it's done it, right? It's I think it's been shot to make it look like it, it's an adventure, and he's experiencing all of these varied things, and compared that to the contrasting of the city, which they shoot in the city, and the way that is shot, which is a lot more close and confined. You don't have the big wide angles looking at that. It's all very close and looking up a lot.
Yeah.
At it. So yeah, it really makes that contrast quite stark. And also a couple of cool shots in there, like the flash flood at the start. I'm not sure how they did that, whether that was CGI or what. And they filmed him doing the rapids and the canoe and stuff, which apparently was him in the canoe doing it, which pretty impressive if that's the case and wasn't a stunt double, because how the fuck do you get insured for doing that with no helmet? Come on.
Yeah, weird.
I don't know if that can be true, actually, thinking about it now. No way would that have happened.
Unless it's one of those things, sometimes maybe they just sort of do it, and then it's like, well, what are you going to do? We've done it.
It's in the case.
What do you think about the decision to break up the plot lines and make it non-linear?
Yeah, I have made a note on that. Let me see, liked it. Yeah, my notes say I like this. Yeah, I did like it. Again... I don't usually look at reviews quite as much as I did for this, because I found it quite interesting to read. But there was a review on there. It was just like, I found the split timeline really confusing. I thought he was just going back and forth to Alaska all the time.
No, that wouldn't make sense.
And I was just like, dude, get off your phone and fucking concentrate. Like, it's clearly not. It was clearly like starts there, but then it sort of flips back and forth, right? But I quite like that, because I think it would have been quite. It would have been a bit more boring if it was linear from the start, from the journey.
Yeah.
Because then it would have been lots and lots of people and then a massive block on its own.
Yeah. So I have sort of mixed feelings about this, because... Well, do I have mixed feelings? Maybe not, actually. No, now I say those words out loud. I thought the Alaskan scenes leading up to where he gets to Alaska... Aren't doing anything.
The Alaskan scenes in the lead?
Yeah, so they're splicing in these Alaska scenes before the very final act, basically.
Right.
Well, not act, but like scene where he ultimately snuffs it. They're not really doing anything. And you're right, there's not a lot going on there. But to me, they were just sort of elongating the first two acts. So I didn't like...
As in when he was there and living in the wilderness, and essentially he was thriving in what he was...
Yeah, so I just... I'm like...
to do, right?
I'm watching his journey, and then we keep cutting back to Alaska. And I'm like, this is already a slow-paced film. Not necessarily a problem, but this is already a slow-paced film. What's this bit doing? Right? And then we get to the end, and you go... Okay, obviously that's when he's getting to Alaska proper now, because the whole thing's ostensibly a flashback, right? He's getting to Alaska properly now, and then, of course, he dies. And you go, oh, right, why didn't they just do that in a one? And you're right, because I think they've made a conscious decision to go, because otherwise it's talking for two acts, and then it's silence for the third act, right? And I get that. But my thing is, I think, well, all right, so you've tried to solve the problem that you think you'll have with your third act by making acts 1 and 2 slower. And I don't think that necessarily worked for the film. The other thing I'll say is I think it might have actually worked better to have the third act completely short of dialogue. Because I think there's something about his journey and the impacts of it that might have hit a little bit harder than it actually does. Now, they're not particularly strong feelings either way. They're not sort of like... I have a minor quibble with the pacing in the first two acts, and we'll never know how the third act would have unfolded because it doesn't exist like that. I did wonder.
You can cut it up yourself and make your...
Yeah, I know you'd have to do that, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bit not. Yeah, I'm not sure on that, to be honest.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but I don't know whether it sets up the final bit a bit better doing it that way, because essentially he doesn't encounter a lot of setbacks on the journey and up until the point.
No, that's one of my problems.
Yeah, and up until the point where he does in Alaska, and so I don't know if I don't know. I feel like it almost like sets up the change maybe better. But then I don't know if it would make a difference thinking about it now because you'd have the same thing because it would just be in a linear fashion. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I quite liked it, but I don't know if it would necessarily need it.
The thing on it is the first time I watched this, I struggled to get through this. I think I watched this over like about 4 evenings or something. I had this belief that this was like a nearly 4-hour-long movie or something. I was really surprised to find out. No, it's only 2.5 hours. So you look at my review on Letterboxd, it says you could chop an hour out of this, it'd be better. Chop an hour out of it with nothing left. I mean, that's not true. It would still be an hour and a half, but still. I was under the impression this was much longer than it actually is, but I found it a struggle. I did watch it in a one this time.
Yeah. It's usually best.
Absolutely. But it was definitely still a bit of a drag, I thought. And I look at that decision and I go, yeah, okay. And I agree with you with why they've done it.
Yeah.
But I actually, flipping that round, wonder if it wouldn't have worked better to commit to that. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pacing-wise, in terms of did it feel long, I think it kind of did feel long, but it's one of those rare occasions where I think it actually helps in a way. And I can't really explain, I'm struggling to explain why, but I didn't really see it as a problem. And usually, even with films I like and go, you could have cut 10, 20 minutes off that. But I think it's because this is a journey, right? And it's a long and winding road that actually having the length to it adds to it in some way. I don't know. I'm not really sure about. Do you want to talk about narration?
Go on then. I mean, this is your baby, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously. Previously on Moving the Needle, I have made my feelings clear on voiceover / narration. Which
were they clear? Because they were misleading at first, I thought.
I mean, continue my consistency of being inconsistent.
Yeah.
I didn't find a problem with the narration in this time, and I think what I would have had a problem with is if it was Emil Hirsch narrating.
Okay, yeah.
Because that one would have made no fucking sense because, in theory, it's looking back and telling a story and he's dead.
I mean, he does do a bit of that when he's writing in his... He's saying like poems and lines that he's writing in his...
Yeah, when he is writing, I suppose, yeah. But
you'd call that voiceover rather than narration,
yes,
would you?
So, yes, who knows?
Yeah.
Write in on a postcard.
Yeah.
But as a mechanism in this for providing a little bit of context and for feeding slowly in a bit of backstory, which I think the aim is to help justify a little bit his, at least his impression and his thinking for doing it, if not actually justifying his actions to a rational person. I think it makes sense in doing that. And I think Jenna Malone, as I said, does make it work. Seems to deliver it quite nicely in a way. And the fact that it's his sister, and then reading about it, the fact that the whole story has been knitted together from part of her account and obviously part of his account, and then the author's research as well. Kind of quite nice to knit that perspective into it as well.
Let's talk about Ad Astra then.
Ad Astra? No, I'm not talking about Ad Astra. Why am I doing that?
Because the voiceover
explains things that you should be able to get from feeling, from viewing and getting the feeling. Do you feel that does it here?
No, they're not doing exactly the same thing. But in a similar way with Ad Astra, that we said you want to trust the acting that's on screen to get some stuff across.
Yeah.
And I say they're not doing the same thing because, like you say, the voiceover in this is maybe giving a bit more backstory than it is.
Yeah. And I think
explaining what's going on screen.
And you could have done that a different way, right? With his interactions with other characters, it becoming apparent through exploring. But then I think
I'm just thinking vibe-wise.
Vibes, yeah.
And especially with the sort of film this is, I do wonder if it would be better without the voiceover and just let him have this meandering journey.
Slower discovery kind of thing.
And again, you trust what's actually on screen. I don't know. I think you would definitely, in contrast to Ad Astra, you would definitely then miss out on some backstory that you might consider important. My thing is, I would say the backstory is not good enough to warrant the sort of the. I think what this film's going for, I don't think the backstory is a good enough excuse for what he did.
I completely agree, and I think for me it's a separate matter from the film versus the actions of the characters.
I'm just kind of adding a similar question. It comes back to a similar question though. When I say Ad Astra, what's the voiceover actually adding?
Yeah, so I think what it's attempting to do, and it does with a degree of success, is it by providing it drip feeds context. So for me, my impression of the character develops over the course of the film as you learn a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, not to the full point of going, oh, fair enough, lad. Yeah, see what you're doing here. But to a point of going like, okay, I can at least understand his thinking of what is essentially a damaged...
You can understand why he thinks what he thinks.
Yes, exactly. Rather than agreeing with what he is doing. So I think it's quite effective in that, and changes your opinions perhaps of the parents a little bit as well, and then it gives that a bit more of a rounded view in terms of how it's affecting them as well, and how it maybe contrasts with the experiences of Jan and her son Reno as well. So it does doing that, and I say you could have done that with his interactions and having communication with characters, but then I felt like he would be being too honest then, which is the whole thing of that character, is that basically he's internalizing and all of those feelings and damage that he's got, and then what he is doing is his way of essentially expressing that. So yeah, that was my kind of view on the
and I don't feel particularly strongly about it. I think vibes-wise, it plays better without a voiceover. And like I say, I like the production of this movie and the soundtrack and the way it sort of sits back. So I sort of think, I think I might have preferred that. And then I really don't like the attempts at a backstory. And I mean the attempts at it, not necessarily the execution of it, because, that suggests that if you did a better job of it, we'd come down on his side maybe. And I don't think that's...
No, I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true. So for me, I'm like, I can sort of go, I don't care. It's irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? That backstory is sort of irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, that to be said, I think there is a large proportion of people that have seen this that do associate and come down on his side.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Because I think the film is doing too many things to try and make you think that. Now, if you've come up with a way of enjoying it and not thinking that, that's totally fair enough.
Yeah, let's tackle that in plot.
Yeah.
In more detail. A couple of other production-y things to point out as I punch the microphone. Splitting into 5 chapters, as the little scribbly writing comes up with the things. Thoughts on that? Any?
There's a school of thought, and I don't know anything about this beyond the couple of sentences I'm about to give you. But there's a school of thought that says a film isn't actually split up into 3 acts. It's into 5 or even 7.
That would actually probably make more sense.
So I wonder if that's actually what they're going for here. And he's sort of formalising it like that. Or if it's just completely coincidental. I don't know.
I also don't know how they link to, say, sections of the book that this film is based on as well. Whether there is a link. Yeah. But as it's not written by him, the book. I mean, so I don't know, or whether this is linked to his diary.
That did that? Got the diaries, but I don't know who put the book together.
So there's a guy called John Cracker or something. I should have written that down. But he wrote the book.
Johnny K. Let's call him Johnny K.
Yeah, he might not even be called John. JK. JK.
Yeah, JK. Not that one.
Yeah. Will sent me lots of messages about this, so I should really know who he is.
Where's Will fall down and into the world?
He doesn't dislike it. He comes down on he's an absolute tool, and he's read the book and he's done a lot of more research into things, which I'll come on to again on block, because there's some interesting bits which you might not be aware of, which I wasn't aware of, which exacerbates the already feelings that I may have had for the character, who you can't forget is a real person as well. So yeah, there's 5 chapters. I didn't really make a lot of sense to me, the splitting it, because it didn't seem to, like when you're doing these big, long, when I say long, like over a long period of time, not just like 2 years, where you actually have chapters of life which are delineated in some way. That my own birth, adolescence, manhood, family, getting of wisdom, I struggled to correlate those to what was on screen necessarily. But I can't really get angry about it. It's just I didn't really get it.
No, but certainly the getting of wisdom one, if I remember that right.
Just the last one.
That's... this is where I come back to, like, the film is trying too hard to make you think that you should like this guy. Because I don't think anybody should watch that segment and think he's gained wisdom in any way whatsoever. And I think that's the purpose of those chapters, right? They're telling you, here's what you should think at this bit. Here's where he is in his life. He's on a journey. He's growing. And I would kind of look at this and go, is he growing?
No, I agree.
Is he growing? But I think that's what they're for. And like you said, yeah, we'll discuss that in plot. But I think that is a very deliberate instruction to the audience, almost.
Yeah, no, fair point. Trope watch.
Ooh,
belt being a narrative. Belt notches.
Oh yeah,
of whether
he's got skinnier.
Yeah, you're skinnier. You get fatter. And it's like, oh, I'm making a new notch. Oh, you're loosening the belt. Oh, he's putting on weight. That's something that's been done before.
I think he must have lost some weight for the.
He lost a significant amount for that belt. I think. Yeah, 100%. I mean, he looks gaunt. I mean,
he doesn't look as gaunt as the real McCandless does.
Oh, really? Yeah, in like the picture.
They do show the picture at the end. But if
he's got
sort of
full
Google
beard, though. It's hard to
he does, yeah. If you sort of Google the pictures, you look at it and you go, oh, wow, like that guy. But yeah, he does look like he's lost a bit of weight.
Do you want to do a game?
Go on. Let's get this over and done with, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so you should all know the drill by now, but if you happen to be a new listener, hi, welcome. How are you doing?
Bob. Don't forget Bob.
Bob. All right, Bob. This is Taglides.
He's unsubscribed by now. There's been 2 podcasts out since then.
So this is a little game where we only do this for movies, usually where there are multiple taglines that appear on IMDb. And then I generate some fake ones, and Carl has to differentiate between the real and the fake. And I'm going to read out 6 different taglines. 4 are real, 2 are lies.
Ooh, 2 lies.
Okay, so I'm going to read them all first, and then you can discuss your thinking. You ready? Into the heart, into the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Go with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Your large adventure on Alaska.
Oh, surely not.
Take a journey into the beauty, into the danger, into the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Escape the mundane, embrace the extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving everything behind was just the beginning. Right, any there that are automatically...
The only one I'm sure is a fake, because it's the worst one by far. Is that, what was it? Was it the third one? What's the third one?
Your large adventure on Alaska?
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Does sound terrible, doesn't it? Real.
Is that real?
Yes.
Oh my God.
But I don't, like, some of these, that I looked at that one and I was like, that doesn't even sound like it's proper English.
That can't be for an English-speaking market.
I was going to say, it's got to be a translation, right?
It can't be, yeah. That
Your large adventure.
That must be for a foreign market.
Yeah, so that was a bit weird. But apparently that one's real. Any others that you think stand out as a lie?
No, there's no standouts. And given that you've just knocked my standout out, I'd just be guessing. Let's say...
So you've
what's the one that actually said into the wild?
You've got into the heart, into the soul for one of them, and then you've also got take a journey into the beauty, into the danger, into the wild.
Yeah, let's call that one out as fake. That's 2 on the nose.
That's real.
Oh, for God's sake. Right. I wonder if I can get them all wrong. What was the last one?
Leaving everything behind was just the beginning.
Yeah, let's say that one's a lie.
That is a lie. Yes.
Oh, okay, right, okay. So
AI generated that one.
Yeah. What was the other really cheesy? What's the cheesiest one out there? The remaining 3.
Go with your heart. It's pretty cheesy.
Is that just go with your heart?
Just go with your heart.
Yeah, let's say that's the lie.
That's real.
That's real?
Yeah, apparently. Don't really understand that one. Doesn't really relate to the film for me.
It's like half a line. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the other 2?
Into the heart, into the soul.
Yeah.
And leaving everything behind. No, I've said that one. Escape the mundane, embrace the extraordinary.
You wouldn't put mundane in a fucking tagline, would you? Surely to God. Let's say that's ChatGPT.
That is, which means that the other one is real.
Yeah.
Into the heart, into the soul.
None of these are good, are they?
No, they're all bad. I mean, the best one you could probably go with is at least because it builds into the wild into it. Take a journey into the beauty, into the danger, into the wild. But even that's rubbish.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Taglines are shite.
They are.
All right, let's go to the plot. So as I said, this is inspired by the book, which is telling of a true story. So obviously, a lot of the plot, in terms of story stuff, that side of the story side of things, it's kind of like, it is what it is, but
yes, but they've put it on screen and asked us to feel certain things about it, so we can talk about that.
And it's inspired by the book as well, so how much of it is actually true. Before we start there, Carl, just a quick funny bit. Mm-hmm. Right at the start, if you remember, where McCandless is wearing shorts, tromping through the snow hunting. Yeah, Emma says to me, bloody hell, it's like Carl. And now I hope and assume that she meant because you're wearing shorts in the freezing cold.
Yeah, maybe.
And not that she's got this weird idea of you, this burly Viking hunter-gatherer type. So we'll see.
Oh, dearie me.
It did make me laugh, though.
Yes, very good.
Go on, Carl.
Right,
off you go with the plot.
Your basic plot arc, right? Kid rejects his privilege.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we're kicking things off. And I think, as we've touched on in production, and this is why I can somewhat understand why so many people come down on McCandless's side, I think the film tries to justify this. And it tries to justify it by showing us that he had a troubled upbringing, okay? The next little bit in the plot, he's then pursuing his dream. He's got this idea that he's going to, reject society and he's going to run away into the wild, if I was writing a tagline. And again, I do think the film is trying to romanticize that and justify it. We've got some commentary on the government, on freedom, how people are wage slaves, or he says like careers are
20th century
inventions, and I don't want more, and all this sort of stuff. And then, of course, finally, ultimately, he learns the value of life and companionship, relationships, whatever. When it all goes wrong and he dies. But the film tries to make that a triumphant note. We end on a very positive sort of thing. It's a picture of him smiling. And actually that taps into, I think, something the film tries to do throughout, which is to glorify him and extol his virtues. Like many, many times do characters tell him how impressive what an impressive young man he is. He's this, he's that, the other. He drops in, he's a fixer of relationships. He's got the wisdom to reinvigorate an old man and all this shit. So you've got that. And like I say, I very much sympathise with people who do come down on McCandless's side because the film's doing a number on them. Here, I think, a list of missteps that the plot make. Right. These are in no particular order, by the way, so we might be flitting around a bit through the plot. So
I might jump in at some point.
Yeah, we can talk about these points as we go. So you've got the Kristen Stewart exchange. I can't remember a character name.
Nope.
It's weird and uncomfortable exchange, right? The hippie dude, can't remember his name.
Rainey.
Rainey, yeah.
Obviously. I mean,
he says like, you better go introduce yourself to her. She's so worked up, she's about to vault a fence post.
Yeah, I mean, you've conflated two bits together, but yes.
Whatever. Like, the implication is she's in heat, mate.
Get in there, son.
Yeah, exactly that. Get in there, son. That's what it is, right? She's gagging for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this scene could have been used to show the effect of removing adolescents from the wider society, how that might affect their development and well-being. But the film isn't interested in that. It's not actually interested in making any commentary on this lifestyle. It is solely on glorifying McCandless's journey, right? And he does that repeatedly by talking about breaking away from the man, getting his freedom and all the rest of it. So all that segment is reduced to is to show how virtuous Chris is. It again ties back into this thing of like, yeah, but isn't he a good guy? And we use that whole scene, which is quite awkward, to go, isn't he good for not shagging her? Well done for not being a sex offender. Well done, you.
Yeah.
But like there was potential value in there to have like a bit of an examination and show both sides of this journey, and it's not interested in it. The film's not interested in it. It's just reduced for a cheap device to go, well done you for not shagging her. Okay. You got any thoughts on that? You want to counter
that was one of the pieces that watching it at the time, that particular bit. I quite like the line, which will come up later, of
Walter fence post.
Yes, of that girl's just about ready to vault herself onto a fence post.
Well, that's it. Vault herself onto a fence post.
Yeah. Which I just thought was like, got the image.
It's even more on the nose. Yes, even more on the nose than I said it. Of course, what would vault a fence post do for her unless she brushed it slightly? You're not doing anything there, are you? But vault herself onto, Christ.
Yeah, so
don't dumb it down. Tell us what you really think.
I think you are actually. I agree with you on this part of it, where this one does just seem to be a look. He's a bit of a dick in other ways.
Yeah.
But he's not a sex pest. And it's been like,
that's the best we can come up with.
All right. So I was unclear exactly as to the purpose or value of it, apart from
because she does look really young when he goes up to the caravan and she runs off and she takes
is quite young as well.
Yeah, she takes her trousers off when she's just laid there. You're just like, oh Christ, like. This is very much like an adolescent exploring and whatever, and it's awkward. But yeah, then that's how we use it. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's trying to show that yes, he's on this adventure into the wild, but at some bushes he just won't go into.
Very good, very good. Don't care if it's pre-prepared. I like it. Yeah,
that wasn't at all where I was going with that point, but it was right there.
Yeah, that's very. Yeah, it's good.
Anyway,
clip that up. Do you want to do it clean without laughing so we can get it out there for the TikToks?
That's fine. Okay, so I'm probably gonna jump on a point here now that I feel like you might share this view, right? And I think the difference here is that this is based on other people's views that I've read, right? That I've experienced the same things, I think the same things, but yet it doesn't negatively impact the film for me. So, what I feel with the plot, where there is kind of a potential problem, is that all of the characters that McCandless encounters don't actually leave any kind of impression on him. And it's always shown as like a one-way impact. Like he is not actually developing based on his experiences, right? And at first I found that kind of irritating. But as the film went on and on like further reflection, it seems like it might actually be an intentional portrayal actually of a self-obsessed protagonist who is selfishly tramping through his privileged life, as you said, and abandoning that with an oversimple and flawed philosophy of just abandoning all of the things that have been handed to him. And which, despite its flaws of that philosophy, get some people to actually reassess their own lives, right? So particularly the Hal Holbrook character, I think that has the sort of the largest impact on any of the characters that he encounters, where he actually gets him to reassess his priorities in life and impact it there. And I guess what I'm saying is that although it would have been more satisfying, I think, if it seemed like McCandless was also learning and seeing there was an evolution of or adaptation of his views and philosophy as he was encountering these people, and he was starting to understand the impact of his actions on others around him, particularly, when interacting with Jan, where she's got a son who has essentially abandoned her, and he can see the hurt that this is causing. But it's not until the very end, right, where there's any kind of realization or change, which is that happiness isn't real, basically, unless it's shared. That is the only real moment where he has any kind of change throughout the whole film. And I think it's kind of a deeply personal human message, and weirdly one that everyone he encounters seems to already understand to a degree, that and they get some value from his human interaction, the human interaction they have with him, even if it's necessarily completely unintentional, because he's just like a one-track mind of like, I have this oversimplified thing, I'm going to go live in the wild and reject thing, and it's going to be pure and all of that. And it's quite shocking, and it's like, oh, well, that's quite impressive. You know, you're doing all this, and you're abandoning all the things, and you're doing it, and people are kind of nodding and smiling along, and they're getting them thinking, and they maybe reassess things, and they fix the relationships, and reassesses his life. And I'm struggling to think of anyone else he actually impacted in a positive way. And I can get that people have a problem with this, right? But I think for me, it kind of builds into the complexity of this movie and makes it a little bit more interesting, that we've got this kind of protagonist that isn't actually very likable, and it's very flawed, and his whole approach to it and his actions are fucking stupid at times and brain dead. But it's watching that and experiencing that and not being like a heroic ending as he overcomes a challenge and becomes full circle and realizes and reunites with a hug of his family. I think it's quite, I don't know, kind of complex.
I feel like I don't think those segments are there to illustrate any growth in those side characters. I don't think the film's concerned with those side characters. I feel like you're giving those bits too much credit.
I think they're impacted by him, right?
They are,
yeah.
But they are. The film shows us they're impacted by him in order to show his value. I think it's all about bumping him up.
See, I saw it as it's like they are seeing or already see that value in community and relationships, and that there is only, happiness, whatever it is only real when shared or whatever, because they're seeing that in their little families and their little partnerships, and the couple that he meets, as in the weird Scandinavian couple, the hippies, and even then Hal Holbrook's character, where he's essentially a lonely man, and he then sees value in that. So they're sort of learning the lessons, or have already learnt the lessons that he has yet to learn until the very end. My interpretation.
Yeah, but I just, like I say, I don't see that those scenes are there for anything other than trumping up. And it's not just about relationships either, right? It's not just about what they're missing. So the Vince Vaughn exchange.
He calls him on it a little bit, right?
The drinking in the bar. Yeah, this is as close as the film gets to calling him out before, right? He's mocking him in the bar.
Yeah.
They're drunk together, and he's saying, "What do you mean, society?" And he's like,
Society.
Yeah. And at that point, he should nail him. And he should be like, "You don't know what you're talking about, man."
Which he basically says, like, you're young. You shouldn't be juggling fire and
something.
Hate and fire? Hate and
no,
fire?
I don't
fire
think
and...
so.
Yeah, does.
Yeah.
But he does kind of, but he's like, yeah, he kind of just steps back and goes, fucking hell, lad, chill out.
He steps back and he goes into his, but if you go in, government conspiracy.
Yeah,
right?
Roswell or whatever it was.
Yeah, because the government, they're always up to no good. And then the next scene is him getting carted off by said government.
Yeah.
And to me, I look at that scene and I go, this is just another scene to reinforce the virtues of McCandless, because he's rallying against the government and the suppression of society. And there you go, you see. A nice guy getting carted off for what? Trying to make a few extra quid on the side? Pirating or whatever he was doing, And that's how these come across to me again and again, is about pumping McCandless up rather than exploring properly the impact he has on people. I backtrack one. We just talked about the Kristen Stewart exchange.
Yeah.
It's not interested in exploring Kristen Stewart's character. If it would, it'd go, what are you doing taking a horny adolescent away from all other people her age? What impact did you think that would have on her, on her in a development? Not interested in doing that. We're not exploring that. Yeah. We are going, this is all about how can we extol the virtues of Chris. My next one, he burns his money, which I don't think is in the book.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
right.
No idea.
I think that's a confection of the film. So it's a film issue. But I've only seen the film, and I have issues with what the film's doing. It's completely at odds with him wanting to give money to charity. I know he's already given the money to charity away, and this is the last few dollars he has in his pocket, but it's completely at odds with that. If he really wanted to help people with his spare money, if he sees this money as a better place, you hang on to it till you see the next guy or whatever.
Hand on, yeah.
But he doesn't really care about anyone else. The symbolic gesture
Yeah.
is more important to him than it is actually wanting to help other people. And I think that ties into what you've just said as well. This isn't about the impact he has on other people. This is about justifying his cause. He keeps getting jobs. Right?
Yeah, I found that weird.
Keeps getting jobs. And it's not just the jobs. He gets a ridiculous number of favours throughout the thing. Like, he has no money because he's fucking burnt it, but they still feed him.
Yeah.
At the place and all the rest of it. He's always living on favours, but he just uses these people and moves on because he thinks he knows better. He just does not value what people do for him. Like, at no point does he ever weigh up how much of me being able to pursue this nomadic lifestyle is a result of there being a fully functioning society alongside me. And I can dip in and out of it when I need to.
Yeah.
And that's true not just of the people who are giving him jobs, but it's also true of the hippies. Because they're still driving around the van.
The random Alaskan guy giving him boots.
That needs to get fuel, that needs to... Yeah, like everything. At no point does he ever weigh this up. And the film never explores this. It should. It should question why he's not weighing this up. And it's not. Because, again, I feel like these exchanges only exist to pump him up, which is why they don't go into those difficult questions. And the Holbrook scenes are the most upsetting with that, because they're the tenderest scenes, I think, that act.
But then he's a complete arsehole at the end,
and he's
right?
just given nothing.
At the end, he's like,
Nothing.
I'd like to adopt you.
Yeah.
And he just goes, yeah, we'll talk about it later, mate. Yeah. See you later. And he's just like, he's put his heart on the line there, and you've just completely ignored him. Like, my impression of the McCandless character is that he is a complete dick throughout this, throughout all of his actions and throughout all of his things.
So we agree on him, but like, what is the film trying to show us, and why is it trying to show us?
Well, I think the film is presenting him as he was, or as he's perceived, right? Because a lot of the time, Hirsch is just there with a smile plastered on his face and just relentlessly heading towards this northern goal to get to Alaska, and I do see the point that you can definitely read this as the film is pumping him up. I just saw it as it's showing a flawed, shitty character, and it's not necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily trying to tell you like, see what he did was good, wasn't it?
I've got one more of these, and then let's dig into that point. Right,
Let's do it.
So, the attempt to show his rough upbringing. Honestly, for him, doesn't look that rough at all.
Yeah, more for his sister, right?
All he has is opportunity, right? Not just for his sister. There's another family that his dad has left estranged.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
Yeah. Those kids, where the dad wasn't present and doesn't have the, what do you need to go to Harvard? Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll cover it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Got you covered.
That's a rough upbringing. Right? That's an upbringing that was snatched away from them. But he actually doesn't have it that hard.
No, I completely agree.
And it never occurs to him.
No.
Right. And here's the thing. It doesn't occur to him because he's an arsehole. We both agree on that.
Yeah.
But the film doesn't dig into that. It doesn't say, it bloody should occur to him, though, doesn't it? It should occur to him, but it doesn't. And you know why? Because he's selfish. And there's not actually the merit in his sort of dream and his pursuit. There's not actually the romance in this idea.
How would you do that, though? How would you... within this film, within the kind of structure there is, how would you essentially hold him to account?
Let me come on to that and change it if you want.
Okay, fine.
So just to sort of sum this section up, right, and then we can dig into it. Like, I'm not saying that this film should exclusively show how wrong McCandless is. You know, I don't want to go, because them government boys, they're just a bit misunderstood, really. Like, far from it.
It does get you question. I think some of the things it gets you thinking about it, not necessarily because of what he's doing is right, but it's like it does get you to. I think you question things.
I don't know if it does. I don't know if it does. I think if you want to do a good job of showing just how oppressive society can be for those wanting to escape it, you have to show how bleak the alternative is. You can't have it as this romantic pursuit that everyone can just achieve if they just, like, what are you doing? Get out the rat race, you know. Yeah. Go van life. I think you have to show that you're rejecting one flavour of shit and the alternative is another flavour of shit.
Yeah, fair point.
And to that end, I mean, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit here. Maybe this story would just never work with someone like McCandless because of his privilege, right? Because for him, it's all the choice. So maybe it would never work. Maybe you just can't do it. But that doesn't therefore mean, because you couldn't tell it properly, then the romanticism of it works. You know, that's not. There's for me with McCandless, there just isn't a story to tell. It's like I said in that opening statement with that review I ripped off. It's just privileged little white kid reads a book and goes off thinking he knows it all and finds out he doesn't. It's not interesting. It's not romantic. It's not even sad. Because it's like, well, you sort of deserve it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of half agree in that it's. I think that's what it's presenting. It shows his privilege. It shows his entitlement, and it displays that, and then shows his journey and the interactions to it, and essentially the tragic, if you want to call it tragic, ending or the results of his pursuit for this thing through very flawed means.
I know you don't use TikTok. You use Instagram though, right? Or you've been exposed to some stuff on there. What do you think about van lifers? Have you seen the trend of van lifers?
Yeah, so friend of the show, Kira, her sister is a van lifer.
Right. I'm talking specifically about the ones that are plastering it on social media.
Yeah, she's got a whole YouTube channel, yeah.
Oh, Christ almighty, this could be awkward. I hate them. Right. Because there's different flavours of them, to be fair, right? But a common theme in those van lifer videos are this sort of idea that you were doing it wrong, paying the man, and you should be getting, like, I didn't want to pay the man anymore. Why should I pay all these bills? You know,
there's all that sort of things with like minimalists and stuff that you go like, oh look, I can live in a shoebox and have a perfect life with one shirt and all of that. The
problem with the van life is sort of twofold though, right? It's like you're doing all that, but you're completely ignoring the fact that every time you want a hot shower, or a flushing toilet, it only exists because somebody on minimum wage has been employed to keep it clean for you in a service station or whatever, a truck stop, whatever you're doing, right? It ignores that we can't just all drop out of society.
If everyone did, it wouldn't work.
This is a choice you've made, right? And then the other thing it ignores, and this is where it gets insulting, is some people are doing it because they can't afford a house. Right? It's not a hobby to them. It's a way of life, and this is what they've been reduced to. So don't extol the virtues of it, of some like morally superior position, which is a lot of the time what it comes through as, which is why I say there are different flavours of van lifers, right? But that particular flavour, that really obnoxious one that is completely missing the point and is completely missing the idea that for some people it's not a choice, that's what McCandless is. And this film is facilitating him in being just that. And what I don't think this film is doing is going, wow, do you know some people don't have a choice to live like this, Chris? And actually, it's nowhere near as romantic as you're making it out. That's their life. And they've got nothing, and they've been reduced to this.
And I guess
but we're trying to romanticise it for you.
That's where the film could have addressed that, right? Where he's coming across more people who are doing this without a choice and seeing that it's not all roses and whatever. Yeah. I think we've covered that. Just want to cover some examples of him being a dick, though, because I think it's fun. So he's obviously got a huge chip on his shoulder regarding his parents.
Those dumb kids, they don't know anything.
Yeah. Now they go some way to try and explain this, but I think even with that explanation, or to try and show his justification for it, it's not an entirely understandable act. Now the river crossing, as in when he tries to get back across the river, right? But it's too flowy. That's the word.
Too flowy. Yeah, it's too flowy.
So this is obviously like based on reality. This is information from friend of the pod, Will. So where he was on that magic bus, not actually too remote from civilization. Like we're talking,
I mean the road trail at some point to it, right?
A handful of miles, right? There was both a bridge a couple of miles upstream that you could have crossed. There was a wire crossing point, weird thing. There was also a ranger station about 2 miles away from where he was. So if he just had a map, for example,
which he explicitly said he didn't want.
Exactly. So the author had basically said, right, that I'm paraphrasing here, but he wanted to explore the uncharted territory. Uncharted territory didn't exist anymore. So in order basically to get that, what he did basically was just choose not to take a map. And the sad bit is that, or the selfish bit is that, had he just taken a map, he would have easily been able to survive, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
And realised it wasn't actually too remote anyway. The other bits, though, when Jan tells him about her son Reno, and there's just no recognition that he is doing something similar or care that he is hurting his parents, but more specifically his sister, who actually should care about as well, who's just abandoned there. And then I've already called out the offer from Mr. Franz to adopt him, and he basically just shoots him down while the guy is completely laying it all out there. Some other plot points, just for funsies.
Oh, can I just jump in on one? Because you've just said something. I realise I missed one, but you just said about how there was nowhere that's uncharted.
Yeah.
So he's got this idea in his head.
Yeah, living,
But actually, it doesn't match up with the reality because there is nowhere that's uncharted. So I missed one of these. He makes a show of how ridiculous a permit is for the kayaking. Now, why this ties into what you've just said is he talks as if the world has only just recently been inhabited, right? Yeah. As if everywhere is just this untapped reserve. And what you're talking about is just a river. The reality is we have fucking ruined the planet, right? You go somewhere. I mean, do you ever watch that Bear Grylls, The Island?
No.
They're dropping them on like these remote islands in the Pacific. They're uninhabited. The amount of shit that washes up on the beaches, like plastic waste and all the rest of it, it's unbelievable, yeah? So if you ever go anywhere, like on holiday, and you're seeing a pristine beach, somebody is being employed to make that look like that. There is nowhere anymore that has been unspoiled. And that applies to your national parks and things like that. So, okay, again, to come back to my previous point, I'm not defending the government. We all can mock bureaucracy and it goes over the top and all the rest of it. But, like, there are people employed to keep those national parks and rivers and whatever in a certain state, and they take on some responsibility for the safety of it. He doesn't give a shit about that because his idea of reality, his perception of the world is completely detached from what reality actually is. And, like, even it'll be somebody's job. Somebody will be held accountable if he goes in and dies without a permit. Yeah. He doesn't care.
No, agreed. Yeah. Yep. I missed that off my checklist of Dick.
Yeah, he just doesn't care.
Checklist of Dick. So some other plot points to highlight. So we already talked about farming, Burger King, earning money to do the thing he wants to do, which he could have done with the money he already had. Doesn't make a lot of sense. He basically rejoins corporate side of things to earn the money which he could have done from doing the same thing before. But fits with his skewed view of life and rejection of material things, in inverted commas.
Ooh, I've got a point on
the
that.
Nice watch that he wears.
You've picked up on that.
Oh, which, sidebar, apparently that is a real guy's watch that was gifted to him by the family.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd feel comfortable wearing a dead man's watch. But
no, you're right. So, doesn't like things, except he does, doesn't he, in the right circumstance. He's fucking delighted to find that hat. He's delighted. Doesn't like things. He just doesn't like paying for them. He likes the moral superiority of I didn't pay for it. But he does like things. He likes things as much as the fucking next person.
Yeah. Some other things. Getting beaten up on the train. I thought it was quite shocking and surprising. Quite like that little addition that he was just on the train and then got pulled over and beaten the shit out of. It's good.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that taps in. I didn't write that one down, but that's another thing where they're going, God, you can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, remember you used to just be a hobo on a train?
Yeah. It's like, well, no, mate. Because,
glory days.
Listen, one more serious one before we do your pithy ones. So I understand what you're saying about, like, these exchanges with other people. And you're going, well, maybe the point of the film is to show the impact on them. And we're supposed to feel good about that, or take some learnings or lessons from them, some sort of affirmation from their point of view. There are also scenes where he's on his own as well, right? Where he's not interacting with other people. And for me, the film is still falling into this thing of talking up his choices and his way of life and the virtues of that. And I don't like it. I don't like extolling the virtues of how things are better when you have nothing. I think there's a couple. One's where he's eating an apple.
Yeah.
And I think there's one
he probably bought.
Yeah. I know, I thought that when he says, "Oh, you're so organic." I was like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, he pits me on the side of a road.
Yeah, it was nowhere near where there might be apple trees.
Meadow of apples.
Yeah. There's one with that, and there's another one where he's talking about some sort of vista or some sort of landscape or whatever, right? And I don't like this idea of saying you can only truly appreciate something when you have nothing. I think it's dangerous. I think it's a right wing. It's definitely a right wing tactic that's used to suppress and discourage upward-mobility. But it's also annoying because of that moral superiority that it's laced with. It suggests that when I sit down on a beach, which I do, and
frequently,
I try my best. Right, I'll be doing it again this summer. Right, I'm talking about in this country. Right, when I sit down, there's a place you shared with you where we sort of go. It's a lovely beach and cove and landscape and all the rest of it. And when I sit there and the sun's going down and the shadows are long and they're rolling over the sea and over the hills, and you've got that sound of the waves lapping the ocean, which is very different in the evening because everything else is quiet. You're not getting birdsong or anything like that anymore. It suggests that I can't properly appreciate that. I can't properly see the beauty in that.
Because you've got a fridge and a TV.
Because I've got a fridge and a TV in my tent. Yeah. We don't always take the TV. Right. Or that when my kids who've spent a couple of hours on the beach just rolling around in the sand or running in and out of the sea, they're doing nothing else but that. The simplest of pleasures. But their giggles are fucking nonsense because they've got iPads.
Yep.
They don't get it. And it's bollocks, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Is it possible to not be grateful for things? Of course it is.
Yeah.
But the idea that you can't appreciate
they're
things...
not one and the same thing, right? You can have people that are completely blinded to the beautiful things
in
life because they're obsessed with the things and the stuff that they've got. But that doesn't mean getting rid of those things will make those people realise the beauty of the things. They'll just be obsessed with the things they don't have.
But that's what it's saying, and that's what it's pushing, I think, is this idea that if you have something, you will never properly appreciate. Not like I do. No, you might think you like it, but no, not the way I do. And the most galling thing about that in this film is this cunt's done it deliberately. Yeah. He's no fucking idea. Because at the end of the day, right, if he does make it back to civilized, he's always got the safety net of going back to his parents.
Mummy and daddy.
Yeah. So he's saying that this is how it is, that he doesn't really know. So yeah, it's just generally insulting. Right, do your pithy ones. Let's move on to something lighter.
So, the tragedy of the moose.
Most of it wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he thinking?
It's too big for you, that chief.
Fucker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Start off with something smaller if you're going to kill something wild. Jesus Christ.
Was he probably desperate by that point? I don't know.
Yeah, but he's just like, well, just cut a bit off then. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got flies on it 8 hours later. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Cut a leg off. Go with that. Stop trying to do the whole thing. Anyway. Slab City. He starts doing some calisthenics. Did you see?
I knew.
He lasted longer
I'm going to
than
start
me.
a calisthenics routine. Have you given up already?
It lasted about the first week and then 3 days and I've not come back. I need to go back.
Oh, dear. Yeah, when he said that, I thought, I wonder if Si's still doing his calisthenics.
That was it, really. And then the other thing was just the when he does get poisoned with the mistaken herb or whatever it was.
Berries, aren't they?
Root. I think it was like a root, wasn't it? Or something like a potato, wild potato or something. Yeah. That weight loss, I was going to say, it was a very effective we done. I imagine they had a wee break in filming and he's lost a lot of weight and did that. Or did they do that first and he puts on weight? I don't know how it works. But yeah, I think we said before that the slow death was well done from him and acted wise. I did quite like the bear encounter where he comes up to a bear and the bear's like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, there's not enough meat on you, Chief.
Yeah. Toothpick.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I had on plot. I mean, I think that's good. We only had talked for about 3 hours. So.
Yeah, well, it's a long time. Good.
Okay, any changes? So section where we each come up with our up to 3 changes that we would make. Carl, how many do you have?
2 for me.
I've only got the 1. Do you want to go for your first one?
Yeah, okay. So in terms of his dream/rejecting society, and you asked this question earlier, does it work with a privileged individual like McCandless? Maybe not. So I think you can go one or 2 ways on that. You paint his dream as romantically as you like, but you have to balance it out by showing the realities of it and going, it's actually got a downside, and you do actually have to step on a lot of people to do it, or still rely on a lot of people. He doesn't have to be an arsehole to them. He could be thankful to them.
Yeah.
Right. It's or you're making an altogether sort of bleaker film, I guess, because you're just going, it's not actually that romantic, which is a shame, but that's where we are.
Yeah, I mean, you could go on this film could become a bit more of not a character assassination, because it's not an assassination if they're a dick, but you know what I mean. Like they could go on
it's a character assassination, just not a sort of a bodily assassination.
Could go on a full critique and highlight the error of the ways, and it doesn't do that. The one change I would make, and this isn't something the film can necessarily control, but I would change the fact that this movie has somehow inspired other idiots to kill themselves in the wild.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of natural selection there going, isn't there? A bit of Darwinism. It will have done, though. It will have done.
It has done. Yeah, people have trekked to that bus, in fact, or the location of that bus, and ended up killing themselves on the way, either by falling in a river or going. And it's people that have been like, did he have any experience with camping? Oh, no.
Yeah.
So, did you not watch the film?
Yeah.
Like, how are you not getting this?
Yeah, and that's where, though, I feel like the film...
And this is where we'll come on to the closing statements, I think.
Yeah, because that's where I feel like the film gets it wrong. Now, in terms of relationships... Now, I've got to say, and I'll touch on this in my closing statement, I'm not buying the value of the impact he had on others and their relationships outside of McCandless, but I do think the film could have made a comment on relationships if he was different. So if he found some value in some, which he just didn't. And sort of as it is, I feel like the ending should be a real cautionary tale. I feel like it's far too triumphant. And I feel like, and this is what I was saying about maybe if they hadn't have gone with the non-linear thing, and they leave that third act as what it is, which is shorn of dialogue and much bleaker, you get that ending hit home where you go, wow, he's hurt a lot of people along the way, or he's used a lot of people along the way, he's left people hurting, and there's nothing triumphant about this. They've just sort of lost him. And you can still show that lesson of he then appreciates the value of life is nothing if you're not sharing it with somebody. But it very much comes down in a different tone, because, like, you know, this isn't a nice tale. This is he's died and he's hurt people on the way. So, yeah, just too triumphant at the end for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is why you're wrong. So our closing statement from each of us, and Carl has won the coin toss, and we'll go first.
Oh, we should do an actual coin toss. That'd be quite fun, wouldn't it?
Who carries coins?
Yeah. All right, we should do a
How about pod shit coin?
Yeah.
Ceremonial coin.
Yeah.
The film reel will be heads. Yeah. Emily Blunt's face will be tails for some reason.
We get a coin made up with Emily Blunt on it.
Not sure why she'd be tails.
Yeah, why would her face be tails? Yeah. Anyway, something about Emily Blunt's house. Yes, this is why you are wrong. Well, I think we both agree it's an arsehole. There's no wrongness there. I think we also both agree that this is not making a... Well, maybe you don't. This is not making a serious commentary on the sort of things that drove him to this lifestyle. It doesn't make an effective commentary on that, is maybe a better way of saying it. I think the only point, or the main point where we're differing, is you think that his journey, his interactions, has had some value to the others around him. I'm not buying it, because I don't think that those scenes exist to show that. I think those scenes exist to extol his virtues and the value of the romanticism of his pursuit, which I think is a misstep. And I think that you can sort of back that up by going, it's not just the scenes with people where the film is trying to do this, it's also when he's on his own as well. They are, seems to me, pretty consistently trying to make him out to be virtuous.
Thank you, Your Honour. So I think I haven't written notes for this, so this is going to be a fucking shit show. But I think there's like 3 schools of thought on this. Sort of looking at some reviews that people had. Right, there's the I love this film and all that it represents and the journey and what he's doing is great. I'm not that.
No.
There's also the opposite of that, where it's very critical of displaying his actions, that he is an asshole, that it's basically what you've been saying there. And I think I'm in the third road. It's kind of in the middle, where I recognise the fact that the character is flawed and an arsehole, but that I don't think that it's the film that's necessarily trying to shove down your throat that it is a great story and a great thing that you should be doing and trying to do that. It's presenting essentially a semi-factual representation of a character and letting you draw your own conclusions to it. It shows, I think, that relationships can impact people, and not necessarily that he personally has impacted people from being awesome and stuff, but just that relationships can impact people. And I think if they had made different choices in terms of trying to make it like he had learned a lesson and stuff, it wouldn't have reflected reality. It wouldn't have been based on that true story, and maybe would have been critical in other ways of trying to make it all Hollywood. So yeah, I completely understand where people are coming from with this, and you, and I get your points of view, and you've made lots of valid points. And it's ones that I recognise as I was going through it, and I think I'm still on the like. I still enjoy it. I still get it. I can see the other perspective of it, but it hasn't. You haven't ruined it for me. Let's put it that way.
Of course, that's what this podcast does, doesn't it? Yeah.
That's happened before. Let's face it. What about you, Carl? Has any needle been moved for you?
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, not to rerun the discussion. No, it's not been moved. You did say a couple of interesting things there, though. I don't think you need to have a Hollywood ending where he has some sort of turnaround. I think he should be who he is. The film should not tell you, but they should give you more of a steer, or they should give you more information to be able to go, well, I'll take it this way. I don't think it's doing enough. It's a criticism I had when I was reviewing Zero Dark 30 recently. A lot of people take that film as a propaganda film. It's kind of difficult to argue with that. And I didn't take it like that. But the thing is, it doesn't quite give you enough to be able to say, oh, it's definitely not that. There's still too much wiggle room. And that's where I am with this as well. It's like, yeah, okay, you can take it either way, but you shouldn't really be able to.
Yeah. I think I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I think in that. But anyway,
no needle.
Good chat. Yeah. Okay, let's finish things off with the data section. So the normal ratings to start with. So a very high IMDb rating of 8.1. That situates it in number 242 of the top 250 films of all time. Carl, all time. It's not in my top 250. I checked. I've rated.
We know all about ratings.
Yeah, but on IMDb, I've rated more than 250 films higher than I rated this. Letterboxd 3.8.
We know all about your ratings as well. I mean, what?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Letterboxd 3.8, same ballpark, but a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Metascore, so the critics 73, so not quite as high as the old audience on this one. Carl, where are you on this one? I know I've written it down already. But
Yeah,
where are you on this one?
I've not changed. I'm a 1.5.
1.5.
I like the production. The acting's okay. I don't like much besides that, to be honest.
So I went 3.5 stars for me.
Crazy stuff.
So
I've realised, by the way, so this will save me correcting this on the next pod. I've just said I like that, and I use like and how good I think things are interchangeably all the fucking time. But what I should have said was,
you think they are good,
I think those things are good. I don't think there's much else good about the film.
and you don't like the film.
Yes,
to be clear.
that's what I should have said.
Yes.
Might get some sleep tonight.
Yeah. So 3.5 is where I started off. Original rating back when I initially watched it, and on rewatch, I was I'm in area between 3 and 3.5. I was kind of around there, but I was just like, no, I think there's enough good things in it to give it a 3.5. Nominations.
And if I were to push you to list those, no, I'm not gonna. Don't worry.
To what?
If I was going to push you to list those things,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
I'm not going to.
Nominations wise, just one Oscar nominee, Hal Holbrook for the supporting actor.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
he was good.
didn't win it. Lost out to Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, he was pretty good in that one.
Pretty iconic role, isn't it?
If you want to listen to what we thought about that, then you can
what a
listen
pro.
all the way back to episode number 1 and realise how shit we were back. You think this is bad?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
way back 36 episodes ago. Oh, bad. It also got nominated for editing.
It's more than 36, surely.
Lost out. Well, technically we're on episode 37 of the proper episodes, and then we've got the special. Actually on 48, I think.
Yeah.
So nearly 50.
You counting when we released them in 2 parts?
No. So yeah, we're probably over 50 in that case.
Ooh.
Anyway, editing got nominated for Lost Out to the Bourne Ultimatum.
Yeah. That's what I'd have done as well.
Yeah, same. Rewatchability, Carl. Where is it on your scale?
Oh, no, it's a no. I'm not going to go very no, but I do think it's a bit of a drag. It's got to be a no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going meh because although I enjoyed it, it's good, but it is pretty long, so it does therefore score lower on that rewatchability.
And feels it.
Yeah. Best scene?
It's a bit of a cop out. It's the Hal Holbrook section. I think that's the most touching bit of it. And it's entirely for what Hal Holbrook's doing, right? I mean, the only other thing I can think of is I quite like the hedonistic scene with the kayakers.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. The Europeans that he meets there. There's one Dutch and one
Crazy
Swedish.
Europeans.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was struggling to think of a standout scene as such. It's not really that kind. I don't know. It's not really that kind of film that anything really like jumps out at you. I rather enjoyed the any of the Slab City scenes where they're just people just existing and interacting. So probably like the conversation that he has with Jan where she reveals about her son and stuff. I quite like that. And that's mainly down to what Catherine Keen is doing. Again, we've both just called out scenes and we've gone, it's basically what not the lead is doing in that scene as well.
I do think there's something in that. Yeah. Listen back to the last 2.5 hours and you'll see what I think on that. No, I don't think so. Not quite.
Any quotes that stood out, Carl? I've already shouted out my one.
No, honestly. So, like in another film, some of the sort of lines and the bits of poetry and whatever that he drips in, I might have been able to pick out, but they just annoy me in this film because they ring hollow. So no.
So there was a few weird quotes that I called out. So right, one of the first sort of lines of the movie where he hands him the boots, right, in Alaska, and he goes, "My number's inside the boots." It's like, why is your number inside the boots? Yeah. Is this a thing in Alaska?
Call him get lonely.
Is that yeah, my number's inside the boots.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, put your arm right in there. That's it.
Yeah. Put your hand in there.
That was a weird one. I did quite like, "You're an industrious little fucker, ain't you?"
Oh, yeah, that's what he says to him on the beach. Yeah.
From
Another bit where the film's telling him how great he is, yeah.
Industrious little fucker. But the one I called out was that girl's just about ready to vault herself onto a fence post. just very visual.
Yeah, it is.
So well done, Rainey. Two quotes there that I liked. Favourite character?
You're going to say Rainy, aren't you?
I'm going to say Jan.
You're going to say Jan.
Yeah, I like Jan.
Fair enough.
Catherine Keener's character, yeah.
Is that so you can imagine that you're Rainy?
Yeah.
Where's Rainy ranking on the daddy scale? Are you going Rainy or are you going Hal Holbrook? Were you?
Oh, difficult. Yeah, granddaddy scale, really. Hal Holbrook, isn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah, I didn't really see Brainy as the daddy. Yeah, not so much. Didn't really get. He has got a
It's the
tash,
hippie
though.
vibe, isn't it? Yeah, he's got a tash.
Yeah, so he's up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have a character you want to?
It is
Hal. His
is-
actual name is.
No,
Mr.
it's not.
Frank.
It's what is it? Is it Wayne? Vince Vaughn's character.
Oh yeah. Wayne.
Wayne Westerberg. Yeah.
Yeah, don't get many Waynes nowadays, do you?
No, I think and I think that's got a lot to do with Vince Vaughn's just magnetism. I think he's very good.
Good stuff. Okay, hybrids, Carl. Have we got a hybrid suggestion for what two films mashed together could equal this movie?
Not for this film.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got one for this film.
Okay.
So, have you? You might not have seen this one though. Have you seen Grizzly Man?
No, I've seen it referenced a lot in the reviews for this.
So this is
Werner Herzog, isn't it?
yes, Werner Herzog. This is basically a documentary. Not basically a documentary. It's a
As I
documentary.
understand it, it's good.
Yes, it is good.
Yeah. Which this film isn't.
But essentially about a man who wants to spend time with grizzly bears and meets an spoiler untimely end. As a result of it, essentially, fucking stupid behaviour being rewarded by death.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Crossed with the film Wild.
Yes. Yeah. Easy. Have it. It's in.
There.
I'm aware enough of Grizzly Man. I've seen Wild. It's in.
Okay, good stuff.
So I have got a crossover. It's not related to this film. It's just.
Is there any
another
linkage
one.
whatsoever?
No, it's just another one we can
Okay.
add to our catalogue. I also have a correction, by the way.
Oh no.
When we did the Kick-Ass episode, and I said that's like Shoot 'em Up crossed with Superbad.
Yeah.
Is, but it so blatantly should have been Shoot 'em Up crossed with Condor Man.
Oh, well, no one's seen Condor Man though.
Yes, but when you watch it, you go, so what's this? He creates a superhero that he then becomes. It couldn't be more on the nose. It could not be more on the nose.
I quite like your Superbad one though. I think that was good.
It works.
It gets
I'm
the,
just
it's the
gonna say-
tone more than anything.
I'm
really.
just going to say that Condor Man works.
Maybe you can have a threesome.
Yeah, I thought about that, but then that'll make the pyramid idea
It does
more
sound
complicated. So let's just put a pin in that and wait till you watch Condor Man, which you really should with your boy at some point. Next time you think, oh, I'll watch a
Watch a
James
Marvel.
Bond film. Yeah, or a Marvel film. Watch a Marvel film or a Bond film with the boy. Watch Condor Man instead. Best of both worlds. There you
Okay. All right. What's your
go.
crossover?
So my crossover is Pulp Fiction crossed with Burn After Reading gets you The Nice Guys. So Pulp Fiction, we've got the gangster flick, The Duo.
Yeah.
Burn After Reading, we've got people doing things wildly beyond their competence levels and getting into all sorts of scrapes, and yet somehow it all works out.
Yeah, I mean, I am struggling with not having seen Burn After Reading for a long time, and also not having seen Nice Guys for a long time. So we want to rewatch Nice Guys. But you know, as you've explained it,
I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's pretty solid. Yeah.
well, we can revisit, and if when I do see this, I go, "What are you fucking talking about?"
Yeah.
So I'll add that. Oh God, what's happened there? I've just gone all over.
Are you actually making a list of these?
I'm trying to. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Nice, guys. Indeed. Right, okay. Then we move on to our top three, Carl. This week, we ummed and ahed a little bit of some. So I did suggest a top three of movies with a protagonist you don't like. You said you would struggle to actually come up with a list of three films that you liked, which you didn't like the protagonist, which I thought was interesting in itself. Whereas I've got quite a few that I could
Can you
name.
throw a couple out? See if I like
Joker.
any? No, I don't like that.
Yeah. American Psycho.
Ooh, quite like Patrick Bateman.
Yeah. You can't really, you quite like him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be going like
The killing
he's
aside.
nice guy.
The killing aside, right? He's a charismatic character. What more do you want from me?
Sure. Okay. Right. Best mates with Paddy B. I like it. But what we did go for was top three movies about a journey, which is very vague. So I'm interested to see where you're going. First of all, though, are there any just missed outs or honourable mentions from yourself.
Okay, so I've got a list here. I'm pretty confident in 2 that are making my... No, I've got a 3. Okay. Right, so...
But have you got any ones that have just missed out?
Here's my ones that have just missed out.
Okay.
Wild.
Okay.
Good film.
I need to rewatch. / watch.
It's a good film.
/ rewatch. I'm not sure. It's one of those, I might have actually seen it, but I can't.
Best thing I've ever seen Reese Witherspoon in. She's very good.
Better than Walk the Line.
Yeah. She's very good. And, there's enough of a... Yeah, it's good. I'll let you watch it. It's good.
In summary, it's good.
It's good. The Way.
Oh, yeah. I know you like...
Now, The Way isn't as good. Nobody's pretending that The Way is as good as Wild.
That's like following a path thing with Thingy... What's his face?
Oh, Christ, I keep getting this wrong, don't I? It's the Camino...
Oh, no, yeah, we've had a correction on this already.
Camino de Santiago.
But is it with Martin Sheen in it?
Yeah, Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
So, it's not as good, but it is, mood-wise, it's very enjoyable.
Okay.
Interstellar.
Yeah. That's on my list of just missed outs.
It's not particularly high on my list of Nolans. Now, that's not saying a lot, is it? That's not saying a lot. Christopher Nolan. Christopher, we've sort of touched on this subject a little bit before. Christopher Nolan is in with a shout of having the, let's say, most solid filmography. Very, very few misses.
And I really enjoyed Interstellar on rewatch as well, because I was thinking I was going to reassess that when I watched it, but I did not.
Blues Brothers.
Need to rewatch it. / watch it for the first time.
Yeah. And then Planes, Trains, and
Automobiles. Yeah, that's also on my list as well.
So they're my honourable mentions.
So the other ones are honourable mentions. So Mad Max Fury Road.
Not seen it.
Very good. Finding Nemo.
Oh, yeah.
Princess Bride.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's a shout.
So it's on the just missed out list.
Won't make the top 3, but yeah.
No. Okay, number 3, Carl. What have you got?
My number 3 is...
I need to order these on the fly. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's really hard. I like all this. My number 3 is Finding Nemo.
Oh, okay. Finding Nemo made it. Good stuff. Okay. My number 3 is Stand By Me.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Have you not seen Stand By Me? You should definitely watch that. Put it on the watch list. It's dead good. I'm on a rewatch it.
You tell me anything else about it?
Oh, Stand By Me. So, journey of...
I just want you to repeat dead good. So it was in line with how I appraised Wild.
Oh, right, yeah, it's just dead good, really.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, you're familiar with the film, right? Stand By Me?
Yeah, it's got all the Corys in it. And
yeah, all of them. All of them. Okay, number 2.
Sideways.
Okay. Journey?
Yeah, they're going
a journey round wine country.
Wine country and a philosophical journey as well, and metaphorical journey.
Okay. Yeah. I went for Wall-E.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if
literal and metaphorical journey.
Well, it's definitely a metaphorical journey, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, good. I really like Wall-E, yeah.
And number 1, Carl.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh, interesting. Not sure I've seen it.
You've not seen Butch and Sundance?
No.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you've not seen Stand By Me, fuck off.
Not the same.
Yeah, it is.
No, there are levels, Simon. Come on now.
So yeah, well done. My number one you haven't seen. You haven't seen this.
Okay, I haven't seen Butch and Sundance.
You haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'm aware enough of that to know what to make of it. Jesus Christ.
I'm going for the Fellowship of the Ring specifically. Just
no, that's the best one, is it? Yeah,
in my opinion. Yep.
Good.
All right, good stuff. Now we move on to our classics collection. Moving the Needle Classics Collection, Carl. So just a reminder, it needs to have stamina.
It's got to hung around for a little while.
It needs to have the girth. It needs to have the broad appeal.
Oh yeah, no niche classics here.
It needs some penetration.
Yeah, it's got to have entered the zeitgeist.
Yeah, have those memorable characters, lines, or scenes.
Do we care if it was bold? Does it need to have balls?
No.
No. And what about how it looks? Is that particularly important? No, it's not.
No, might factor into it, but it doesn't have to. So the inductees so far that we have is
Got to do with the job. That's what we're saying.
Apocalypse Now, Star Wars, Jaws, The Godfather, Jurassic Park. Nothing shocking there, people.
No, we're very basic. Yeah.
It might continue that way for a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll get controversial soon. I'm sure. Carl, do you have a potential
I've got one, yeah.
inductee?
And I've got a couple because,
Just in case.
You have a backup. I'm going to propose one, which is, I think, our most controversial one just yet. But I am very confident that it should be in there.
Okay.
And I'm very hard on this.
Well,
Predator.
I can tell.
Predator. Yeah, there you go, you see. Yeah.
I don't know, Carl.
Yeah, it's Predator.
Just when we're talking about that penetration.
Oh, yeah.
I know Get to the Chopper is obviously penetrated.
Oh, God, yeah. If
Does
my
your mum
wife
know
can
about it?
my wife can come into a thing and go, is this to get to the chopper one? That's penetration right there.
You said about your mum.
Oh, my mum's seen Predator, no doubt.
Has it penetrated your mum? That's what I want to know.
My dad will have made sure that Predator penetrated my mum, no doubt. I mean, he made sure it penetrated me at 9 years old. Remember that?
Yeah. Therapy.
He took precautions. He cut out the, This isn't funny. Move on.
It's gone the wrong way.
No, I mean, I'm very confident that this is an absolute classic action film.
Broad appeal
Arnie.
for its genre. I'll allow it. It's in. We need a gavel sound. Dum, dum, dum. Okay. I'm going back basic bitch time, okay?
Yeah.
I've got a choice of 3 here. I'm going to go for the...
The most basic one.
No.
Oh.
Well, maybe. Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Right, good. Confident.
Yeah,
the
of
other 2
course.
I think I was pretty confident with as well. But we'll come to those next week. I'm going to stick with the basic bitch. You can be the risky bastard.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it is our list at the end of the day. Right?
Yeah, fuck you. It's our opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There we go. So Back to the Future and Predator make their way onto the Classics collection. So you can find that list on definitely my
it's on mine as
Letterboxd
well now.
and
Yeah.
now on Carl's. Excellent. Okay, Carl, have you got anything else?
Nope.
All right, that's all we've got. So if we moved the needle for you, or even if we didn't, please do rate us, follow, subscribe, give us that 5-star review wherever you are listening. It really does unleash the algorithm and get us out there to a larger, wilder audience. Our Bluesky, Instagram and Twitter is MTN Movie Pod. Our YouTube channel is at Movie the Needle. You can also find our page on Facebook and some occasional TikTok at movie.the.needle. All details are in the show description, so please do follow and comment wherever you are. So from me and Carl, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm off into the wild to hunt moose, pick berries, and stay on the lookout for famous cock. Goodbye.